May welcome back
Thank you.
to Dieppe.
Thanks.
It was a long journey in Montreal with the
hmm
nationals,
Yeah.
and if you don't mind, we can start with from the beginning. Um, what what brought you to judo? What
hmm
age?
Okay.
Where you start? Which club?
Okay.
Which city?
Okay. Well, I started martial arts when I was 4 years old. I was put in Japanese jiu-jitsu by my dad because he was doing it with one of his friends, and they both had kids at the same time. So me and my friends grew up together, and we played the same sports. So they put us in Japanese jiu-jitsu, and when we were like 8 years old, the techniques were starting to get a little bit too complicated and dangerous for small kids because there was like standing chokes and stuff like that. But most techniques were very similar to judo. But yeah, so since the techniques were starting to get dangerous for us because we were very small, my dad's friend decided to let us try judo, and it was here at Otoshi,
Mm-hmm.
and the club had just started. It was in the basement of a church,
Mm.
so we just went there one day, and I never stopped.
Okay, and do you remember the year you start?
I think it was in 2013,
Okay, yeah,
something like that.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure
yeah,
out how old our club is.
yeah. It's about 12 years old. Yeah, a little bit
Okay,
over 10
yeah.
years.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect. So you start in Dieppe,
yeah.
and what was your journey to national team? So
hmm
it was specific goal that or you just did really good, and then someone offered you to join the national team, or you made some goals and you said, "Oh, I want to be part of the national team." How was
hmm
it?
Well, when I was around Mikara's age, maybe a little bit older, I started competing in age categories over mine, and I was performing pretty well, and I was fighting against the top judokas in those age groups, and I was doing pretty well with them. I wasn't winning, but I was giving them a lot of trouble, and the coaches started noticing me, and they were like, "Oh, well, she's giving them trouble, and she's very young." And in 2019, I qualified for the Canada Winter Games for judo. I was not in the age group, so I was like underage, so that's why I went twice. And Marisol did the same thing. The last time she went, she was underage as well, but I was able to go because of my results in the higher categories, and I got a bronze there. So I started medaling on the national level very early on, in the older age categories, and then I wasn't on the top of the podium all the time, and even in my category, I was more stressed when it was my age group, so I wasn't performing as well. But with time and experience, I was performing as well in both. And eventually, I was doing a lot of camps in Montreal, up west, and doing lots of tournaments like throughout Canada. And I was medaling at almost every one of them. And sometimes I was only medaling in one category, sometimes in both, sometimes I wasn't. But I always put in a lot of work, and I was doing a lot of extra work outside of judo. Um,
What kind of extra work? So.
well, there was during about a year, we had a coach here. He was French, and that's when the year Malcolm came
Mm-hmm.
to train with us for a year. And on the weekend, he would bring us on runs and swimming
Mm-hmm.
to get our shoulders moving
Oh,
and
okay.
just to keep us going. And yeah, during that year, I was training with older people, and I've always been training with older people and bigger people as well. So it
Mm-hmm.
was good for me. It was really hard,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in the long run, it was really good for me
Mm-hmm.
because I managed to, I was always like stepping up my
Yeah.
game and
Yes. So
becoming better.
can we advise for young judokas, and they if they want to be higher, it's pretty much crucial, kind of
Mhm.
crucial to try to fight to meet the people who are above.
Yes, always try to go with people that are better than you, not too heavier, like try to keep it around the same weight, but always try to go with higher belts when you can because that's when you gain experience.
Hmm.
And for me, when I was in, I think I was like 16, there was COVID. So
Mm.
then the season just stopped. I just came back from my first tour in Europe. I went in Italy and Spain,
Wow.
and I didn't medal or anything over there. I didn't do very well, but it was my first time abroad. It was really tough, and the training camps were super intense. But just during those couple of days of training, my judo went up like 10 steps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the training
yeah.
camps, you really have to do as much as you can, because those are the moments when you can really try your judo against people that you don't know, people that are better than you as well. So that's when you get to, try your stuff out. And
Yes. So these trips you were alone, or
I was with Team Canada.
Team Canada?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you medal and you do results when you're pretty young and you do medals at a higher level, then Judo Canada notices you, and with certain podiums, you get standards. So those standards allow you to go abroad and do tournaments.
Okay. So in the partly financial came from Judo Canada as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so they kind of help financially as well for accommodation, flight tickets, and stuff like that.
They financially they help some people out. If you're like national champion, some of them will get funding for their trips, but most of the time parents have to pay. But Judo Canada invites you, and then if you have the money to go, then you can go. Yeah, but Judo Canada arranges like the flights, the tournaments, like they make sure that all of the tournament is taken care of.
Okay, and when you became a team, national team, part of these events and everything, so they invite you to Montreal, and you signed a contract or something.
Yeah. So with my results, when in 2022, I had a lot of pretty good results, and I won Ontario Open in seniors, which gave me the standard to be carded and sign my contract with the national team. And I had a lot of points as well, because in each tournament, when you medal or if you place, you get a certain amount of points, and you want to be as high as you can in the ranking. So that's why you need to do like a lot of tournaments across Canada. And I got an email one day that I'd been chosen to be a part of.
So you didn't
team.
require it; you just they noticing you and they send you the mail.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Yeah. So
you not apply. They just noticed you.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. It's with your results, and you do like training camps in Montreal, and you get to know the coaches also. And I'd been doing training camps over there for many years. So some of the coaches knew me already, and I was like on their radar for a little bit. But it's really with your results and the amount of points that you get.
Okay.
That's how you get chosen. You need to be like in the top of your category.
Okay. So if you do the best, they notice in you and they send you the invitation.
Yeah.
How you consider the training camp when you did in Montreal? How many times per week you train? Like everything. Was it tough?
It was tough. Yeah. It was twice a day, every day for like during the week, and then on the weekends there's a technical training on Saturday, which is not mandatory for everyone. But if you skip like certain practices during the week, then oftentimes coaches will ask you to make it up on the Saturday. But it's a really fun training, I find, because there's no fights, there's no anything. It's really just technical, and there's not a lot of people that go, because it's a weekend. Everyone's really tired from the week.
Yeah.
But you really get to like spend time one-on-one with one of the coaches, Janusz, which is Jessica Klimkate's coach. He's one of the best technicians in the world. So when you get to spend time one-on-one with him to practice your technique, it's
definitely.
Yeah.
So what was that? It was a Chikomi or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, practicing movement. Malcolm does a lot of the stuff that he does because he worked with him a lot. But like practicing just moving, feeling your partner, learning how to attack while you feel your partner, like when to attack and stuff like that.
These two trains per day, what kind of it was? Randori, how many time for Randori, for example? It was like kind of the same we did today for Saturday?
Yeah, very similar. In the morning, it alternates between gym so weights and technical.
Mm-hmm.
And then at night it's always randori.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. A little bit more around the training stuff. So, for example, accommodation. So, did they provide you some accommodation, like the place you guys can live, or you can rent by yourself if you are able to? What about the food, like supplements? If you can buy, they tell you which one, and you buy by yourself, or they provide. Uh, do they feed you or something like that? Like around training. So training we already discussed,
Yeah.
but some another thing.
They don't provide any housing for athletes, but if we need to, let's say we need a roommate or we can't find a place to stay, then Judo Canada will, ask around and see who needs a roommate, or like if someone can take you in for a couple of weeks while you find an apartment or something. I was living on my own. I was lucky enough to be able to do that. And for food, you have to do it all by yourself. There's a nutritionist that Judo Canada works with that we can go see. Just email her, text her, or anything, and she'll make an appointment with us. And she helps us with the weight cuts, managing weight. She gives us recipes if we need some, because a lot of people get there and some of the people have never made food for themselves, or they don't know how to make good food,
especially
right?
when they are young. And
Exactly. So she can provide us with foods and tips and tricks for
recipe,
what to eat, when to drink certain stuff, like Gatorade if we need, supplements like you said. She'll tell us which ones we need to get, because we also, like, when you arrive at the National Training Center, you get blood work done to see if everything's okay in your body. So if you're deficient in anything, then they'll say, okay, well, you need to take a supplement of, let's say, vitamin D or something, So they tell us what to take, and if we need to take like a prescription or anything, the doctor will give it to us, and then we can get it at the pharmacy.
Okay, so we know that you are kind of young person, and you spent about a year in Montreal.
Yeah.
Do you felt some loneliness to be far from your family?
Yeah.
And it was initially, then you got your new friends, or how was this basically?
I was lucky enough that I knew pretty much everyone that was already in Montreal, because I'd been doing training camps and competing, around Canada for a long time. So with time, you get to know everyone, even if they're from, up west or Quebec. Everyone knows everyone, and the dynamic is really nice because you make friends, and everyone was happy when I got there. My friends were like, oh, like, you're finally here. We'd been talking about it for many years. So they were happy that I was there. And at first it was a bit hard being alone, because I was used to always having, my family when I was home. One thing that hit me pretty hard was when I came back from a tour in Europe, and from Pan Am's, I would get into my apartment and I was just alone. I was like, oh, no one's here.
Yes, we all know this feeling.
Yeah, which was weird at first, but I was focused on my studies, so my spare time was just spent studying, and I would go to the park with my friends, and sometimes we would go like to a restaurant or something.
Okay, so you said you also studied,
yes.
So you train and study at the same time. Wow.
Yeah.
And what did you do with the
health science?
Health science.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find this difficult to study and do some training for sport?
Yeah,
or it might help, like kind of activity rest. So you use your brain when you study, and then you use your muscles when you train. Like, of course, brain as well. But you feel you still think that it's you can handle it.
Yeah.
And what was help? Was it judo philosophy, or it is your internal spirit, like a strong person? How you feel these? Did judo helps you to handle all this to process?
Yes, absolutely. I was always focused on school a lot, like even in high school. So I was always managing training and school. And I was in an advanced program in high school. So I really had to be like on the dot with my projects and stuff. But no, it was really nice to be able to manage both. And I think judo had a really big part in being able to manage both because you learn discipline.
Yes.
It's one of the big aspects of judo and respect. There's all the principles, but discipline is a really big one. And having to cut weight also at a young age helped me with that, with discipline. But I don't think I could have done one without the other because I needed to take a break from studying by doing judo, or break from judo, then you study. But it was no, I think it was needed to have both because it would have been too hard to just have one or the other.
Okay, it's really we can see this example that you can combine everything. So I already know that your plan is to continue for medical education, but here in Moncton University. And do you think you will be able to handle judo as well? So you are going to keep going with judo?
I'm gonna try as much as I can. I'm not gonna compete necessarily,
Okay.
but I'm gonna try to be there as much as I can, especially just for coaching. And
Yes.
I still want to keep in shape, obviously. So I'm gonna train as much as I possibly can as I study.
So probably your goals just right now is focusing more to education, and then just keep training, coaching.
Yes.
And we are really happy to see you in our judo.
Thank you.
What is the probably the most important, like 3 advices to young kids who gonna see on your example and maybe want to also to be part of national, to go to maybe world championship, maybe Olympic. Could you please share your thoughts how to be one of the best?
Never give up, because when I was younger, I wasn't a very good judoka. Like I was always losing in tournaments, and I would go home crying, and I was like I lost again. But if you keep training hard and putting in the hard work, eventually it'll pay off. And hard work beats talent at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because yes, someone can be very good naturally at something, but if they don't do anything to maintain it, or like step up their game, the person that works very hard will beat them at one point. So I think that would be my main advice, is to just work hard and don't give up on yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much, May. It was really interesting to see, to hear the whole this thing. That it was really inspiring journey. And thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you for our operator as well. Okay, thank you so much.